It's now time for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Braylon Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazaway. Let's talk some sports.
Hey, let's go! Tuesday show, August 29th, 2023. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com, fox2detroit.com if you're watching live, YouTube, wherever you're watching. We are excited to have you along with us and excited to have the big guy back. Braylon Edwards, good afternoon to you, my friend.
Good afternoon, Ryan Ermanni. Good to be back. Good to be hanging in there. I was up north hanging out with D-Mac, Big D Energy. We got a chance to hang out in Gaylord, Michigan. Softball game on Sunday. Golf outing with John Daly, Mr. Hit It Hard himself, Mr. Arkansas native. A lot of fun up there. It was kind of infusing, golf with cannabis. That's like the new thing now, is trying to get that to be the first sport where you can kind of use cannabis. And it was fun. It was a lot of high individuals, but it was good energy. Maz, that's one thing about that community is everybody's, you're smoking what you're smoking or you're eating what you're eating.
You're so high.
Everybody's just relaxing, having a good time. Took your boy up there. You saw that. Big Stan got a chance to drive the truck up there. And
He's looking good, man. He looks like a young man like you.
Man, I set him up. I feel terrible, but I set him up. You know how I set him up? It's because I knew he would love to drive the truck, and I didn't feel like driving 3 hours there and 3 hours back. So I hit him with it on Saturday or Sunday. I was like, hey, Dad, I got a new truck, man. You want to drive? Yeah, you got a new truck? Bring it over. We'll ride together. So I go over there. Man, this is nice. This is nice. I said, would you like to drive it up there? Yeah. Let me drive. Man, I took an edible in the backseat, knocked out.
I can't believe you suckered poor Stan.
Oh, man.
I did, but it was a good time. Got a chance to see D-Mac. And D-Mac, he always finds a way to do something special at outings or events. Like he's so good with the people always. You know that about him. But when we're playing a softball game, first of all, my team won. I'm not going to say about how much, but we won.
Oh, well, you might as well show why bury the lead.
You know why bury the lead?
Why wait? Why bury the lead? Talking about softball.
Yeah,
Take a look.
What I do? Call my shot. Take it over the left field wall. You see it. You see how long it took me to get the first base?
Oh, man.
It's because I knew it was out of the park. So I'm not going to say how much we won by.
We didn't see the bat flip, though.
You didn't see the bat flip. You got to use the other angle for the bat flip. But, we won handily. But D-Mac had a web gem in center field, kind of like that short center spot. And, man, I'm talking about he was this way. Ball was hit on a rope. He went back across the grain, caught it like that. D-Mac always finds a way to do something special. Did something on Monday. There was this impossible putt on this hole 5, this gimmick hole. It was an impossible slope. Guess who was the only person to make that putt in 2 rounds of golf? It was Darren McCarty. So
there you go.
How are his ribs?
They looked okay.
All right, he's all right now?
He's still not swinging as hard on his drives. But you know what? His irons, they're starting to come back around, and the putter definitely was there.
For those of you who don't know, Darren McCarty, of course, broke his ribs while wrestling. What was it, AEW or Total Impact? One of those wrestling organizations.
Just a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Went through a table and the table didn't break.
It did not.
Something like that.
It didn't break the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, it didn't break the way it was supposed to break. Tom Mazaway, we had a good afternoon yesterday and a great morning yesterday as well at the Feldman Automotive Children's Miracle Network outing. A lot of celebs were in the house there.
I know. Got to see. Well, I didn't get to see Mark Wahlberg. You did. Great guy, and we'll play a little cut for you in a little bit. But I got to see Kevin James and Ron Artest, James Buddha Edwards, Tom Izzo, lots of other celebs around there. It's a beautiful golf club, obviously, home of the Rocket Mortgage Classic. So it was a great time, and they raised over $1.5 million for those kids, and that's what it's all about.
There's been outings at DGC, Maz, for the better part of whatever, and I've gone to Jalen's outing for the better part of whatever. There's been a couple other ones, even the Mark Wahlberg outing. But it seems like, correct me if I'm wrong, since Rocket Mortgage has come to the DGC, and the PGA and Rocket Mortgage have put all that money in the DGC. Now it seems like more and more celebrities. Like every year, you're seeing more and more celebrities. I mean, a couple years ago, the only celebrities were going to be Lomas Brown. Right. There's going to be Herman Moore. You had to beg to get Barry out there. D-Mac would come. Now you're seeing people like I told you last year. I met Sugar Ray Leonard. So every year, I believe this is becoming a destination point. People wanting to come to Detroit, wanting to check out DGC.
I heard about that last year with Sugar Ray. Matter of fact, I met one of the painters there, and he had a great portrait of the Brown Bomber, Joe Louis, and he had one of Thomas Hearns.
Ooh, Hitman.
It took him 8 hours to do Thomas Hearns. They wanted him to do it really quick for the event. You should have seen his hands, all bandaged up by the time he's done. Those guys work hard with their hands, and he told me last year he did one for Sugar Ray Leonard.
Guys, let me tell you, Woodward Sports is expanding its daily lineup beginning September 5th. Booner and Broder pair up for Woodward Nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Two of Detroit's up-and-coming sports personalities for the hottest takes, the best entertainment. Join them Monday through Friday, 8 to 10. Booner and Broder. Catch them on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel. It does feel like we're getting back to normal a little bit. Kids off to school today. I had the day off from Fox 2 this morning, actually, in order to take the kids to school.
Nice.
Great day. They come home. They're tired. Hopefully they'll go to bed a little bit sooner. Hopefully mom and dad can have more time away from the kids.
The problem is you guys will fall asleep. We do.
That's right. I'm exhausted.
Out this elaborate evening, and halfway through the first drink, you're knocked out.
That's it.
My wife can't get through one commercial break.
Hey, before we get to our first commercial break, you mentioned Mark Wahlberg. How about our Lions beat reporter, Gabrielle D. Phillips, making an interview segment on Good Morning Football this morning on the NFL Network with Mark Wahlberg.
So this is the craziest thing. Mark Wahlberg, we know him as a Patriots fan. Yeah. Famously left the Super Bowl 28-3. That's okay, though. And he was asked, though, recently about his prediction, and he had an NFC expectation for a team that a lot of people are excited about this year. Go ahead, Mr. Wahlberg.
Back in Detroit, and I know you're a Boston guy, but what are your thoughts on the Lions this season?
I'm predicting they win the NFC for sure.
That's a bold statement.
I'll have to see. Well, you know what? They got a great coach. They got an amazing team. You know, I think Jared Goff is due, and I'm excited to see what they do this year.
Yeah.
All right. That's Wahlberg. The Lions have not won a playoff game in a long, long time. He says they're going to win multiple and win the entire NFC, represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So what do we do with that? That's gold for us.
It is.
What do we do with that, right? And that's the question that I think a lot of people are asking. Mark Wahlberg tells Gabrielle D. Phillips he believes the Lions are coming out of the NFC. He thinks they'll represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Now, is that just because he loves the city? Is that just is because he was here yesterday? Or does he really believe that? Any one of the three will be fine, but that just kind of goes in line with everything we've been seeing this football team in the offseason. 9 days from today, we're going to find out whether predictions like that and whether predictions like we've been talking about for the past 4 months will live up to snuff a little bit, or if that's all just BS.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg is a person that doesn't blow smoke. He's a guy that's very serious. Like, he's a guy that vets situations, vet processes. So you got to take what he says. You have to believe it to some extent. But at the same time, I believe that is a little bit of the national basis now. Everyone believes in the Detroit Lions, so everybody's talking about the Detroit Lions. So everybody now is trying to get on that bandwagon before it's too late. They're trying to be on the team and say, hey, remember, like, if the Lions go to the Super Bowl this year, if the Lions go to the NFC Championship, they want to be a part of the group to say, hey, I said that they were going to the NFC Championship. I said they were going to make it to the Super Bowl. So I think you got to be careful. We got to be careful. The Lions still didn't make the playoffs last year. There's still a team that's getting better, and they're going to do some things. But we got to see it on the field first. But I don't think it's anything wrong to have both. I think there's one to be a little bit overexcited, and now he's in Detroit, and know his work with Feldman as well as with Beaumont Hospital. He wants to see the Lions do well. So there it is.
You know it, man. You're in Detroit. You're being interviewed by Woodward Sports in Detroit. It's kind of nice to blow smoke on the local team. Plus, they've got some fire behind them. But we talked about it yesterday, Ryan. There's one group that still thinks 9.5 is the win total, and that's Las Vegas.
And it is, and it really hasn't moved. I mean, when the draft came and went, when the free agency came and went, Vegas put the Lions win total at 9.5. And again, that is not a predictor of the season. That is a predictor of what they believe they can get the most amounts of money on equal sides. So one way or the other, win one way or the other isn't like some massive loss for the book. But, 9 times out of 10, I'd say Vegas pretty is on the button here. And as Maz says, if Vegas puts your win total at 9.5, you've got two choices. It's 9 or 10. That's how close it'll be. I don't think it'll be that close. Sans injury, I think it's 11 bare minimum wins. Bare minimum 11. 11, 12, or 13 is really what I'm going with. But
11, 12, and 13, and we've looked at the schedule extensively. We've gone over it extensively. We see where they're going to get the wins. We see where they may be challenged, whether it's the Baltimore game, whether it's the Chargers game out at SoFi. We see where they're going to be challenged, and we've gone over it. But it still remains, until you see it on the field, and the reason why I asked that is, what is the wide receiver position of the Detroit Lions right now? As I'm going into week one, and this is just me, just on the outside, kind of watching the Lions and seeing what I'm seeing. I'm looking at the wide receiver position. I'm looking at the interior defensive line position. And although the secondary is stacked with safeties, how is the secondary as it relates to stacked with cornerbacks? See a quarterback released today from the Detroit Lions. So you want to see those things play out during the season. So I think they're going to have a damn good season. I still think they're going to win the NFC North, but I just got to see it on the field. It's one of those things, Ryan, when you play the game, I think we just got to see it. Like, you can hear it, you can read it, you can see the analytics, you can even read where everybody's going for it. You can see the players that were added to the roster. All that sounds good, but you got to see it on the field. I want to see it next Thursday when they come out of Arrowhead. How do they act on the road when they're playing against a juggernaut like that? How do they respond playing against, after losing a game in which they felt they could win? I want to see the adversity. That's when I'm going to know the true Detroit Lions, the adversity once the season starts.
You mentioned cornerback who gets waived, and that is Chase Lucas. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about this 53-man roster construction. We are awaiting word to hear which 53 made the team. That is a 4 p.m. deadline today. If you're watching live, hopefully you'll be with us. But this football team is prepared to make a run at a Super Bowl. We will continue to talk about that. Matt Broder will join us, our Woodward Sports beat writer. He'll join us coming up at the bottom of the hour. But first, a message from Fairway Packing Company. For over 60 years, Fairway Packing has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry-aged beef. You can experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. Visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods. Grab and go steaks. Order online. Fairwaypacking.com. Fairwaypacking.com.
Source aged prime cut, packed to perfection.
Are you a diehard college football fan? Well, it's your lucky day. Join special WSN guests like Spencer Raxter, Flannel Sam, and more every Saturday. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Saturdays and tune in live from 8:30 to 10 a.m.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
Winners, losers, pushes and draws, over-unders, prop bets, futures and spreads. Are you sick and tired of your picks being losers? Do you want to learn how to bet like a champion? Well, Woodward Sports searched the globe for the most dangerous man with a bet slip in his hand and gave him a show. Coming soon to Woodward Sports. Tune in every weekend as we introduce the greatest gambler to ever walk the earth.
Hi, I'm Booner, and I don't lose.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. The same great service that customers have come to know and trust. They're located on Woodward, just south of 9 Mile in the great city of Ferndale. You can go check them out in Dearborn as well. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac. Find the brand you want under one umbrella. LesStanford.com. LesStanford.com.
Find new roads.
Find them. Hey guys, Lions 53-man roster is going to be whittled down today, 4 p.m. deadline if you're watching live. I'll say this. Braylon, you had mentioned the defensive back is cut Chase Lucas. Chase Lucas had a really nice preseason, a 7th-round pick from a year ago.
Yeah.
Dylan Drummond had a really nice preseason. Many people thought he won a spot because of the consistency and because of what he did in the 3 preseason games. An undrafted rookie free agent from Eastern Michigan. We fall in love with these back-end guys, and that's fine, right?
Yeah.
It's okay, but don't you feel like this football team is all about winning now? This isn't about you've really got to be a damn good ball player to make this football team. You can't just be okay. You can't be in, and I'll use a baseball reference, you can't be a 4A guy. Maybe you're a AAA player, or maybe you're a minor leaguer or a major leaguer half the time. We used to call that a 4A player. You've got to be an NFL caliber player to make this football team. This roster is going to be solid from top to bottom. Whether that player is going to be traded here, whether they're looking at the waiver wire or not, this roster is going to be a good roster.
Yeah, this is going to be a damn good roster. And also, just look what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are doing in terms of where these players are coming from. Emmanuel Mosley, Cam Sutton, they're from the University of Tennessee. Aiden Hutchinson's from Michigan. Brian Branch, Alabama. Jameer Gibbs, Alabama. Jamison Williams, Alabama. You know what those places do, Ryan? They win. They're currently at the top of college football. All those institutions are the institutions that you see at the end of the season in that top 5. They're trying to recruit their talent from the places that are putting out nothing but NFL stars in the NFL. If you want those type of stars like you see with the Eagles, like you see with the 49ers, like you see with the Kansas City Chiefs, you got to go to some of the places that they go to. And I think that's where you're starting to see the difference, is they're drafting players from winning collegiate programs, and they're also getting guys that are coming in from winning programs. Cam Sutton comes in from a defense in the Steelers. Emmanuel Mosley, he comes in from a defense from the San Francisco 49ers. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he comes in from a defense with the Philadelphia Eagles, who were in the Super Bowl last year and were the best defense. So he's building it up that way. It's the collegiate guys, and it's where you bring guys from.
Dan Campbell talked about just the difference in how difficult it is cutting guys last year and cutting guys this year. Here's the coach.
It's a lot different. I do feel like that we are more talented, and it's not just more talented, but the players that we're letting go too are man, they're just the way they're made up. You know, I mean, any team would love to have them. The way they work, they're smart, they're pretty instinctive guys, you know, and they produce. They got good tape, you know, so you know. We're far better off.
Far better off this year than they were a year ago, and they're not done yet. I'm anxiously awaiting not only to see who gets cut, because to be honest with you, they're going to be fine there. Doesn't it feel, Braylon, that they're just ready to make a move on whether it's a kicker, whether it's a wide receiver, whether it's whoever? I mean, Diana Rossini reported today that the Lions were one of 4 teams rumored to be involved in the trade market for a kicker. That is stuff that just makes you feel good that the Lions are just in on these players.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you look at Howie Roseman and you look at the Eagles and you look at it seems like every time somebody is up, some free agency comes to market, some player is having a disagreement with his GM, with his owner. Seems like the Eagles are on the move. Seems like the Eagles are circling around that player. It seems like the San Francisco 49ers, they do the same thing, circle around that player. Whenever something comes up, you always hear the Cowboys' name around something. They're always trying to be up in the trade. Hell, they just made a trade, and we'll talk about that as well. But you just never hear that from the Detroit Lions. It seemed like you never heard that. You never heard the Lions' names in the mix of trying to get this player or being in the hunt for this player or being in the hunt to make this move. And I think now the Detroit Lions are a team. They're entering in that phase. They're a team that wants to be mentioned with making a move. And we talked about this 2 weeks ago. I believe that your man, the mad scientist, Brad Holmes, he's not done. I agree with you. There will be a move made before the season starts.
Guys, football season is fast approaching. Make it a money-making season. Need a lock of the week, some best bets. How about a value play? Booner has you covered. Woodward bets weekends all season long, starting September 2nd. Saturdays at 11, Sundays at 11:30. Booner and Friends Woodward bets on Woodward Sports YouTube channel. Tom Mazaway.
I was just, me with the kickers. And I know you guys laugh at me because I'm always bringing up the kicking game. But I told you, they need a kicker. That to me, that's their number one need right now. They need a kicker. I'm not putting Riley Patterson out there for anything more than a 45-yard field goal.
Honestly, man, can I stop you for a second?
Please.
It was clear that you could not trust him on anything over 50.
No.
Would he kick a 53-yard field goal has to be routine.
And he was 2 yards short.
A 53-yard field goal has to be routine.
Yeah.
It was short. If you're going to miss it one way or the other, I understand that, but please don't miss it short.
I'd rather let this kid Romo try. And I know I haven't watched him, so I really don't know anything about him. But he was put on the team because he's got a big leg, and he kicked a 60-some-odd yard field goal for the USFL or XFL. I forgot where he came from. But I don't even know if he's the answer. And it's tough. San Francisco does not have a kicker right now. They drafted Moody from Michigan.
Yeah, they don't like.
And he got hurt.
Third-round pick.
Yeah, he got hurt. And they let one of the best kickers go, and Robbie Gould. I'm not sure if he's available.
He wouldn't be able to go back
old
there.
leg, but he's still
Did
good.
he retire?
No, I don't think so. I think he's still a free agent, or he's willing to still kick.
Robbie Gould, he's 2 years older than me. I want to say I'm an 01. Robbie's a 99. I want to say, but
Nick Folk just got traded from the Patriots. He made everything last year. He goes to the Saints, who traded Will Lutz to Denver.
To be with his old coach.
Yeah.
Nick Folk
I
is
would
a
have
damn
taken
good
Will
kicker
Lutz.
too. Nick Folk can kick too. I played with him. He was there. He kicked the game when I was with the New York Jets. He made some big kicks for us in the playoffs, but that seemed like eons ago, 12 years to be exact.
Running joke, right? Wasn't the running joke, though, that when the Lions finally got good, that they weren't going to have a kicker? Because for 40
All
years,
those years.
Jason
40
Hansen,
years, one of their
Prater,
best players was
Eddie
a kicker.
Murray.
Today's Eddie Murray's birthday. I laughed. The Lions said happy birthday to Eddie. I'm like, we need him.
Exactly.
I see him all the time. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, kickers today, man, they got the big leg. Kickers have the big legs. It's no reason why you should be kicking a 51, 52, 53-yard field goal, and it's coming up short, especially in a dome. Especially when it's indoors. So you got to have a guy that has the big leg in today's game. If you want to sacrifice a couple consistency, maybe with the inside the 40, that's fine. But you got to have the guy that can make the big kick.
Steve Brown on the chat said Romo was cut 5 minutes ago. So John Parker Romo, was nice to meet you.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's why the Lions were in on kickers.
Yes.
That's why they wanted a trade, because maybe he had the leg, but maybe he wasn't consistent.
Right. And they traded a pick to bring Riley back, if you remember, Riley Patterson.
Yeah.
And this isn't a kicking team. Don't you feel like Dan Campbell and what's the offensive coordinator's name? I'm drawing a blank.
I got you,
Ben
Ben
Johnson. Don't you think they go for it inside the 40 every time anyway? If it's on fourth down, so they're not.
But
kicking,
there might be a reason for that.
Yeah, but they're not kicking 40-yard field goals. They're not kicking 45-yard field goals. If they were to kick a field goal, it'd be 50, 55, 58-yard plus. I mean, that's the only time the Lions are going to be kicking a field goal, unless I just can't see them electing not to go for it.
But at the same time, isn't that reason? Because if you look at this is year 3 of Dan Campbell's tenure. The first year, they were a horrible team. No bones about it. They were a bad team, 3-13-1. He's trying to go for it. They don't have a kicker. He's going for it on fourth down. He's going for it because he has nothing to lose. In year 2, he started off the season doing the same thing, and they were 1-6. As they got good, less and less chances. But with that being said, if they're a better team this year, like they're supposed to be, the Detroit Lions going to win the NFC North. They're going to be in these games. They're going to be close to the NFC Championship, particularly maybe even the Super Bowl. You got to play smart football. And all the teams that have made it to the Super Bowl, right, en masse, or made it where they had a consistent reign, like the Seattle Seahawks, I can tell you their kicker was Steven Hauska. You know, when you talk about the Patriots and what they did, well, where do you want to start? You want to start with Gronkowski, or do you want to start with Vinatieri? You got to have a guy. You want to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs? They got Harrison Butker. You want to talk about the Baltimore Ravens? They got the GOAT. the guy with the leg. So you got to have a guy that can make those field goals, because all those teams that we're talking about that are Super Bowl winning teams that get there all the time, I just named you their kicker. You got to have a guy that can kick, because if you do, then you can take some of those chip shots and not worry about it. You can take the 3, and then you can trust the defense of Aaron Glenn.
And honestly, Matt, Michael Badgley got cut too,
Yeah,
so it's
stinks.
not like the 3 kickers that the Lions had on the roster: Riley Patterson, Parker Romo, and Michael Badgley.
Yeah.
Badgley got cut by the Tennessee.
They all stink.
So Badgley sucks.
Yeah.
Parker Romo sucks. And Riley Patterson, nice kicker,
Yeah.
but he just
He
doesn't.
has no leg.
if I want him for my high school team,
He
I'll go get
doesn't
him.
fit how the Lions play. If you're short on a
Yeah.
53-yarder, I can't have you.
Yeah.
I just can't have you. You got to look elsewhere. Now, who's out there? I don't know. Can you bring back Jason Hanson?
Yeah,
I mean, my goodness.
I just go back to the point that it's an indoor. It's a dome. Ford Field inside. It's nothing easier. Don't get me wrong, I'm not an NFL kicker, so I'm not speaking from experience, but I've kicked a couple 40 yards inside Maz in my day. It's nothing like kicking indoors. If you can't hit 53 in terms of distance indoors, it's 2023. Like, what are you going to do when you play in Denver and Mile High? What are you going to do when you play at Arrowhead? What are you going to do when you play off in Pittsburgh when it's December and it's windy as hell? What are you going to do in Cleveland? If you can't kick at Ford Field, this is just the truth.
Dan Campbell watching the waiver wire. Obviously, some teams have, I think there's 10 teams that are down to their 53. Lions are one of the teams that have not made their final 53 yet. They have until 4 o'clock. They've got the next 90 minutes to do that. Hopefully they do that while we're on air. But here's what he had to say, Dan Campbell. This is via Mike Payton, A to Z Sports.
You know, we're close. But we still have, there's a number of moving pieces between here and then looking out, you know, on the other 31 teams too. And where does that, is there a piece there that fits here? Or how does it, relative to what we already have here? And so we're close, but we still have, there's a little bit of flux we have to go through here.
So there you go. We'll take a look and see what they come up with. But the roster is yet to be constructed, at least officially put out in public.
Hey, look, he's not the only one. Nick Saban, for the first time in 17 years, he didn't release his opening day roster as well. Guys are playing it close to the best, and we shall see. I think he's got some players on the team, and I think this is one thing with Dan and Brad. We saw last year, we saw during Hard Knocks. They're good guys. And they love the players. They love, all the players want to play for them. All the players want to be here. So it's not like a lot of times you see, Ryan, it's easy to move guys because of lack of effort or lack of participation or lack of being in. Everybody is in as a Detroit Lion. Everybody's trying to give all they have for the Detroit Lions. So I think it's probably around this time it's making it a little bit tougher for Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes.
I don't know if Matt Prater has anything left. Is he still around?
I don't know.
He got Arizona paid him in 2021
I know he had a
when the
couple of
Lions
bad
wouldn't,
years.
and then he had a bad year that year.
Yeah, I know.
He had a bad year.
But he was good here, and he likes kicking indoors.
I love Matt Prater. Matt Prater has a leg. I was there in Denver when he broke the record.
I'll bring him back.
Guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk to our guy, our WSN Lions beat reporter, the great Matt Broder. We'll talk to him next. But first, a message from Big Boy.
All right, the Strawberry Fest continues this summer at Big Boy. Get it while it's still there, folks. Started off your day with a great breakfast, the strawberry hotcakes, the mouth-watering red velvet waffles, and how about some brunch, the strawberry bacon chicken wrap, or keep it light with the refreshing summer splash salad and those desserts. That's why you're at Big Boy, right? The classic strawberry pie, deep-fried vanilla Oreos, and the strawberry hot fudge cake. And, of course, you can just order a Big Boy at your local Big Boy.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1, what's your why? More epic energy, better sleep, blow off steam? Step 2, join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3, bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
It's the Randy Wise Celebrity Golf Tour.
You're a good coach, Tim. Oh, great shot.
Some of the biggest names in Michigan sports, and some, well, not so much.
Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, shit. Go in.
Watch episodes at woodwardsports.com.
At the Academy of Warren, they have a brand new state-of-the-art sports dome field house that has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, and soccer field that can be used for 7-on-7 football. K-8 that features AM and PM latchkey, small classroom sizes, Learning Street, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, Houghton Mifflin curriculum, academic games, and many more. The Academy of Warren is now accepting new enrollments, so go to academyofwarren.net. That website again, academyofwarren.net.
Back Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button for us. Subscribe to Woodward Sports. Over 47,000 subscribers on this platform right now. We are happy to have you along. Let's get up to 50,000 by the start of foot. Can we get 50,000 in the next 9 days?
Why not?
Let's do it. Let's shoot for the moon.
I think so.
How about that? Let's shoot for the moon.
I believe so.
Guys, let me bring him in. Matt Broder, he's our WSN Lions beat writer. You can, of course, read his stuff on woodwardsports.com. Matt, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, Ryan. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be. This is actually the first time I've been with the full crew on the Ermanni and Edwards show with Matt. It's great.
Hey, guys, just a side note. Oruwariye got released by the Giants.
Ermanni Oruwariye.
Ermanni Oruwariye.
So did Pimpleton. Khalil Pimpleton, yeah.
Khalil, the wide receiver.
Yeah, he was the wide receiver on Hard Knocks last year.
2 Hard Knocks guys, Chase Lucas and him.
Had a really great preseason for the Giants, too. There was some speculation that he might get picked up by somebody. So there you go.
Maybe us.
Yeah, you never know.
He knows the offense at least a little bit. He knows the people. He's familiar with the guys there. That could be interesting.
Matt, from what you've seen so far, I guess Chase Lucas and Dylan Drummond, that really made, news because we grow attached to these players. You see when a player is fighting for their life, essentially, you grow to root for that player. But this team means business. If you are not an NFL caliber player, you are not on the final 53.
It's true, and you guys have talked about this multiple times on this show, that there are going to be good players that are getting cut, or there are going to be fan favorites that are getting cut that have maybe had a good training camp, had good preseason games, but our roster's so much stronger than it's been in years past. We're just going to have to say goodbye to some of those guys. And on top of that, with the single-day deadline for the roster cuts this year, there's sort of a whole new level of strategy involved with the different GMs, the different teams around the league of how and when they're going to release these players. I look at a guy like Stephen Gilmore. He's a perfect fit for the practice squad, but he's looked so good in the last 2 preseason games. He's got great film. He's got great DNA. It'd be hard to see him make it through waivers.
Yeah.
So does he make the 53-man roster for that reason? I don't know. We'll see.
I'll tell you, it's one of those things, too. Why do we have the one-day cut? Like, I mean, instead of
this is the first time.
I'll tell you why. It's very simple. And it's something.
That right?
It's something that you were down at camp for. The starters don't play anymore. The starters do not play in the preseason anymore for most teams. So you don't have any. You got to play 3. You got to play 3 preseason games.
You got to fill. You got to fill space.
You got to fill a team.
Yeah.
If the starters aren't going to play, you have to have the backups. So. That's why there is a one-day cut, in my opinion. It's very simple. If you start cutting players as they go, then, those starters might have to play a game or 2 in the preseason, or at least a half, or
also,
at least some time.
They kind of make it almost, Ryan, like a new free agent period as well. Mm-hmm. It's another way the NFL is going to get you. They're making trades now. You never saw trades, really, at the end of a preseason. You're seeing them more now. It's like another... Roger Goodell said, this is going to work. Let's go with it. And it is working.
Was there ever a time where you've seen kickers get traded in the preseason?
Hell no. They didn't even get mentioned in the preseason.
And for draft picks.
Nobody was even mentioned. Exactly.
Draft picks.
Here's an interesting thing with the season coming up. You're talking about, like Ryan says, in 9 days. We'll be in the thick of things in that game. Everybody's so excited about the season. Everybody's so excited about every player drafted. Everybody's so excited about every player brought in. Is there any worry to some of the veterans that were brought in, or some of the veterans that we're excited about, whether it's a Charles Harris, whether it's Anzarike, whether it's guys like that? Or is there any nervousness in rookies? Guys like Broderick Martin, guys that are coming in where you're like, is Jack Campbell really going to fit the holes? Like, he looked great in preseason. Is there any nervousness with any of the vets or any other rookies?
I don't want to just
underperforming.
I don't want to just say no. Like, no one's worried. No one's nervous for the beginning of the season or listening to the expectations. But I think the type of veterans and the type of rookies and young guys that they have on this team, there's a level of maturity that I don't think we've seen in Detroit in years. I mean, at least since I've been born, in the last 30 plus years. So I think that mentality.
That's a good sample size.
Yeah, that mentality combined with, their coaches, the players, the coaches that they've been around all day were players themselves. So they know how to prepare for the season. They know how to prepare for these big moments. And I am interested to see how they come out of the gate, because how they started last season. But there's a different feeling in Allen Park, down in Detroit this year, that these guys are ready for the challenge. They're going to be coming ready to play from the start of the season next Thursday.
Hey guys, let me tell you quickly, nothing says rivalry quite like Michigan and Michigan State. Flannel Sam and Spencer Raxter go head-to-head every Friday night starting September 1st from 10 to 11 p.m. Breakdowns of the Wolverines, the Spartans, previews of their matchups. Flannel Sam and Spenny tune in to Woodward Sports YouTube channel again Friday nights from 10 to 11. Talking to Matt Broder, our WSN Lions beat writer.
You know
Matt,
what time it is.
Would it surprise you if Brad Holmes did anything bold today? And by bold, I mean make a trade. I don't want to say make a cut, because I think Julian Okwara probably is that big name that may get cut. Maybe Levi Onwuzurike could be that big name that does get cut. We don't know. We don't have that knowledge yet. But by bold, I'm talking about by trading a guy like James Houston, who we've seen play in the fourth quarter of a preseason game last week. What's he doing playing in the fourth quarter of a preseason game, the final preseason game? And ironically enough, on all these rumor pages, it is a name that pops up on there as a possible trade candidate. Would that shock you?
That would shock me without a doubt. I think James Houston, I think he's one of the untouchable guys on the defense. Not that he's going to come in and expected to double his sacks like he said on the interview with you guys a couple months ago. But I think he was in playing the fourth quarter of that last preseason game because they expect more out of him this year. They held the starters a lot. They held the starters out to prevent injury. They feel like they've gotten enough reps in their joint practices. But for a guy like James Houston, it's all about repetitions, playing that Sam linebacker spot. We're not really worried about him rushing off the edge, but it's getting those reads in the run game. Even in the pass game, knowing what to do, that stuff comes with instincts. And I think that's why we've seen a lot more Jack Campbell, too. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's those linebacker positions. Listen, they're going to hit guys regardless. It's hard to limit the amount of times they're going to be making contact with another player this season. So let them get in their spring training. That's what we'll call it. Let them get their reps in, so when the lights are on, they're ready to go.
Hey guys, 3 cuts so far today. Darrell Daniels, tight end. Parker Romo, the kicker. Brandon Joseph, safety. So that's per Dave Burkett. I think they got 13 or 14 more to go. So we'll keep you up to date. Cole Beasley released by the Giants. So,
wow.
Who knows?
Already got one Joseph as safety. Don't need another one. It seems like it's Detroit's motto. Asking about James Houston. I want to stay with James Houston for a second. James Houston is a guy that we believe, we saw talent. Ryan fell in love with him last year, rightfully so. You saw that one move. I mean, the infamous move against Justin Fields, be able to stop and go and come again. So it was very interesting to see what he could do. Are we putting too much on him, though? Are we believing that his ceiling or the potential that he has is too much? Are we ignoring the time frame of what he played and how he played and what those games were last year? Are we putting a little much on him?
I don't think the ceiling is too much, but I think it's a little too soon to expect that ceiling.
Exactly.
Like, I think he can be a very productive pass rusher and a very productive player, a 3-down player eventually. I don't think he's going to start the year as a 3-down player. I think he's going to be that spot 3rd-down guy, come and rush the passer, and I think it's just going to grow over time. We'll see how Charles Harris handles getting that starting job back at the edge. Kaminsky, we kind of know what we're going to get out of him. So I just think it's going to take a little longer for him to get to that point. And Neil Rule actually had a really good sort of monologue on Big D Energy about, and I'm not going to be able to explain it, but how his contract, after getting waived last year, the contract that he's in is very team friendly for the Lions. So I don't imagine he's going anywhere anytime soon. And they're gonna see this through with him.
Let me be clear. I don't either. I agree with you on that. I just don't think it would. I don't know if it would shock me, because it does feel like he is at a very high. He's a high value trade chip right now, because where are you going to find time for him too? I guess for anybody that gets after the quarterback, like James Houston gets after the quarterback,
there's a place for you.
You could find some time for, unless that time goes to a guy like Josh Paschal. I mean, they are very rich. They are very rich at defensive end and defensive line. And maybe that gets you a wide receiver in a trade market. Maybe that gets you a high-level kicker at some point, which I believe I would hate to see the Lions come down to whether or not they're going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC and not be able to kick a 53-yarder.
That would be a problem.
You know, I mean, that would just kind of stick.
I'm already sick to my stomach just thinking of the kicking game. I've been sick of it. Here's some big names today. Well, bigger names. Jags part company running back Snoop Conner, Tim Boyle, the Jets quarterback, former Lion, Jonathan Abram, Saints safety, Danny Shelton for the Chiefs, Royce Freeman, the Rams running back, Nathan Peterman, Bears quarterback, Keelan Cole of the Raiders, wide receiver, and Robbie, now chosen, Anderson, released by the Dolphins.
Robbie Anderson. I told you nobody wanted his.
Nobody wanted
When he made that comment about Baker, it was the one time I was on Baker's side, like, nobody really wants you either.
No.
But let me ask you a quick question. Ryan just talked about how stacked the defensive end is and the defensive line. Stack the defensive end, I agree with. Defensive line, not necessarily much. It's because of the interior defensive line. You've heard me talk about it over and over and over again. And I'm going to beat that dead horse until I see it this season. With Aleem McNeil and Isaiah Buggs, what am I expecting to see out of those two this year? Isaiah Buggs being a damn good leader on that defense. What am I expecting?
I think you can expect them to do their jobs and do what's expected, if that makes sense.
It does.
I know that's not telling too much.
No, it does.
I don't think there are guys that are going to blow up the stat sheet. Even Aleem McNeil, I don't think we're going to see a huge increase in sacks out of him. But I think those guys, the way John Scott Jr., their new defensive line coach, has been teaching them, it's about playing violent and getting to the quarterback, but most importantly, it's about building that wall, doing their jobs on the interior of that defense so that the guys like Aiden Hutchinson, Charles Harris, Kaminsky, James Houston, so that the guys who can get after the quarterback have the right lanes and are able to get to the quarterback. So I think the veteranship that they bring, especially those two, to the interior is important. We'll see if that's an area that they might be looking to address in these next couple hours, next couple days. And we'll see.
And that makes a lot of sense because I had this guy when I was in San Francisco 49ers, defensive tackle named Sione Poole. And Poole, he could blow that defensive line up. All you really need him to do is you need him to clog that space up. You need him to stop it, make him go elsewhere. You need to feed them into Aiden Hutchinson. Feed them into Charles Harris. So I understand what you mean when you say just do your job. It makes sense.
Got time for one more segment with us?
As long as you need.
Let's continue to talk some Lions. By the way, if you are watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button for us. Let's get to over 200 likes by the end of this next segment. YouTube, hit that like button for us. We'd certainly appreciate it. More Lions talk next, but first, a message from Guardian Alarm. They're your local security experts and have been for over 90 years. When you see that black and yellow sign out in front of your house, it tells the bad guys one thing:
stay out.
Whether you are at home or on the road, they're 24/7 professional monitoring, customized solutions from real experts, and technology backed by people means you are backed by the best. Call this number right here, 1-800.
Stay out.
That number again, 1-800.
Stay out.
Call them today. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Stay out.
The Sports Marketing Agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
Have you ever argued with your little brother? How about some random guy you're stuck in a room with for an hour? Flannel Sam and Spencer Raxter are at each other's throats. One Spartan alumni and one Walmart Wolverine are locked in a room with nowhere to hide. You're welcome. Whether it's go blue or go green, you can go to woodwardsports.com for all the action. Coming soon to a device near you.
Calling all landscapers, this is Darren McCarty. I'm at Outdoor Equipment Co. How would you like to landscape like a legend? How about a bad boy zero turn? And even a chainsaw. And even a weed whipper. So register today at OutdoorEquipCo.com, and even you could have DMAC on your landscaping crew.
Hey guys, wondering where the best tailgate is? That's easy. It's Eastern Market, the official Detroit Lions tailgate party. It's Shed 5 in Eastern Market. Woodward Sports going to be broadcasting live for every home game. 3-star Michelin buffet featuring Chef Aaron May, VIP parking, and even tickets if you need them. How do you sign up? Go to bullseyeeventgroup.com. Bullseyeeventgroup.com. Tailgate like a VIP. That's bullseyeeventgroup.com. Happy to be a part of that. Matt Broder in the house with Braylon and I, Tom Mazaway. Matt Broder, our WSN Lions beat writer. You can read his stuff on woodwardsports.com. Matt.
Yes, Ryan.
However you feel about this 53-man roster, don't you feel like at this point, when you hear like the Lions are in on, trade talks with kickers, I assume they're in on trade talks with other positions as well. They are trying to make this roster as good as it can possibly be. I just feel like this team is in pretty darn good hands right now. I'm not breaking any news by saying that. We've been saying that for 4 months at least. But at the same time, it does make you feel as a fan like your team is being taken care of. It doesn't, you know what I mean? If Chase Lucas gets cut, God bless him. I believe that these guys believe that Chase Lucas wasn't good enough to make this 53 right now. If Dylan Drummond gets cut, I believe, God bless him, but I believe that Dan and Brad feel like he's not good enough to be on the 53 right now. They have a plan. They're executing that plan, and I feel good about it, regardless of which names that they tell me are on this roster or not.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of what's going on down the street at Little Caesars Arena with Steve Yzerman as their GM. I don't know as much about hockey as the other three major sports.
Yeah, you and everybody else.
Right? But when I follow the Wings and I hear about some of the moves they've made this offseason, the acquisition of DeBrincat, without knowing much around the NHL, I feel good about what Steve Yzerman's doing. I feel very similar to what Brad Holmes and that front office is doing, where whatever move they're making, it's not only for a reason, it's in the best interest of the Lions. And they have that about $19 million war chest sitting there. When's he going to use it? When is he saving? What is he saving that money for? Could it be something soon, or is he waiting for a trade deadline? Or is he storing it for a rainy day in some other scenario? So you're right. I do feel that way, and I feel it feels good that not only are good players getting cut, but other teams want the Lions players, which means they're being seen from other coaches too.
I will say this. I've asked a lot of questions. I'm kind of on the opposite side. I'm trying to ask all the negative questions. I don't want to be negative Nancy. I'm going to give a statement. I actually feel good about the move of Chase Lucas. And the reason why I feel good is when you look at how the Lions defense breakdowns last season, they were 11th in tackling. That's not bad. They were 24th. They were 24th against the run. And it's not where you want to be. They were 32nd in coverage.
Oh, boy.
They were 32nd in coverage. And if you're getting rid of a guy like Chase Lucas that had a good preseason for you, well, you know what? I'm going to go on the other side and say that actually makes me feel good. Because if you can get rid of a guy that's had a pretty good preseason for you at a position that you were the worst in the NFL, that lets me know that you got some guys that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And you know what? I'm going to say that's a good sign rather than a bad sign in my mind.
It's a great point. And I think for the first time, at least in the Dan Campbell era, they get to see what a true what starting cornerbacks look like out on the field. Watching Cam Sutton out there every day in practice. Chase Lucas may have had a good training camp, may have had a good preseason game, but he's not up to the level of what they're expecting this year, which is plays like Cam Sutton. Jerry Jacobs is taking another step up. I'm fine with him as the number 2. While we wait for Emmanuel Mosley.
Well, that's just it. I'm glad you mentioned him because maybe that's a reason why that you waive a guy like Chase Lucas too. We really don't know what the plan is for Emmanuel Mosley just yet. I mean, there's 70 minutes to figure that out, and I'm sure, again, that they've already figured it out. We're just waiting word from Allen Park, but that could be another huge boost for this secondary if Emmanuel Mosley can start the season on the active roster.
Yeah, 100%. If he can start an active roster, that spells well for the Detroit Lions, and that may be a situation why they got rid of Chase Lucas. But you bring up a good point, man. I remember playing against the Detroit Lions even back when I was playing. Every year, the DBs for the Lions were always like, who's it going to be this year? What is it going to be? Rasheem Mathis? Are you going to go dig him up out of retirement and put him out there? It was always interesting to see. But the DBs never matched, with the exception of you-know-who, Slay. None of the DBs never matched up with the other defensive weapons that they had. Now you got guys that actually look like guys that can cover the likes of Justin Jefferson, that can cover Devontae Adams, that can cover Garrett Wilson, and these other phenomenal receivers in the NFL.
Guys, let me tell you, football season fast approaching. Make it a money-making season. Need a lock of the week, some best bets. How about a value play? Booner has you covered. Woodward bets weekends all season long, starting September 2nd, Saturday at 11, Sundays at 11:30. Booner and friends, Woodward bets on Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
Hey, I got some new cuts for you guys.
There you go.
Well, they're a little bit older, but these are some good names. Bradley Roby of the Saints. He's a starting cornerback, former #1 draft pick. He is gone. Broncos tight end. They really like this guy. 4th-round pick. Albert Okwuegbunam is gone. Colts wide receiver Amari Rogers. Chase Winovich of the Texans. Greg Ward of the Eagles wide receiver. Miles Gaskin, running back for the Dolphins. Ben DiNucci, Broncos quarterback, and Deshaun Hand from the Dolphins. He was a familiar name back in the day.
Miles Gaskin was a damn good running back out of Washington. Actually, I preseason picked him to win the Heisman one year. I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
We don't know either.
You know what? You watch yourself over there.
Break it up, guys.
What is as we look? I mean, this is so exciting. It's a day you kind of wait for a long time, right? I mean, training camp over, preseason over, season starts in 9 days. 53-man roster going to be finalized at least for a little while, and obviously there'll be movement throughout the weeks and months of the season. But for right now, the 53 men that you're going to go to Kansas City with are going to be announced today in the next 60 minutes or so. What is the biggest area of concern for this football team right now as you sit here on Tuesday, 9 days before game time? What is your biggest area of concern for this team?
All the wide receivers and being able to score points fast. Like, being able to score points fast, I look at what they're going to do with, and you know, it's the interior defensive line and all that kind of stuff, but I'm going to go with it. They're going to play against a team that knows how to score points. They're going to play against a guy that is the guy. He is the man in Patrick Mahomes. What happens if you get down 14-0? What happens if you get down 17-3? What happens if you get down quick? Do you have the manpower at offense to score touchdowns, to stay on rhythm?
Well, they wouldn't be down 17-3 because they can't kick a field goal.
This is true. They'd be down 17-0. Actually, that's a great call by you. That was funny as hell. That was funny as hell. No, you're right.
But I think it's a legitimate thing. Can you score points quickly?
Because when you play when you're playing against Patrick Mahomes, you know Andy Reid is going to have things dialed up, man, and it just like a blink of an eye. It's a blink of an eye. I mean, you look at the Eagles, and 1 minute they're in the Super Bowl, and next minute in the second half they're getting blown out. You know, or it gets open, the gate gets open. Can the Lions perform under that? Because it could happen. That's my biggest question. Like the wide receivers, like how's Amon-Ra St. Brown going to do with all the pressure? Because right now it seems like it's Amon-Ra St. Brown and nobody else. Like we haven't heard a lot about Marvin Jones Sr. We don't know who's going to really be that guy to step up at number 2 or that guy to step up at number 3. Sean LaPorta. Like we put a lot on him, but he's still a rookie. He's still a guy that's coming in rookie year. So it's going to be interesting to see, can they answer the bell? Because you know Kansas City's coming already. If they can answer the bell, that first touchdown, Kansas City's in for a long day.
Let's go around the horn here, Maz. What's your area of concern as on this Tuesday? What's your biggest area? Well, I guess I think I know it, actually. It's the kicking game.
I know it is, but I'll skip that, and I'll go to wide receivers like I've been sticking with. I think they need another wide receiver, and hopefully they're going to find him on this waiver wire. There's some decent names out there, guys still being released. I think they're going to, like you heard Dan Campbell earlier today, we played the cut. They're going to be watching for every other team, every 31 teams are putting these players out. Everyone's got to get down to 53, plus the 16 for the practice squad. I think they get a wide receiver today. I don't think they get a kicker today, but stay tuned for that. They get another 9 days to get that straight.
Matt, don't you feel like they would have signed a guy like Jarvis Landry already and gotten him in camp if they wanted a guy like Jarvis Landry?
I do kind of feel that way.
Yeah. You know, I mean, just anybody that doesn't have a job right now, you get them in camp.
They don't want to pay those kind of guys.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it doesn't feel like they go outside of the 1,100 players in the NFL currently on a roster, right? I mean, you hear those names all the time, like the Jarvis Landrys of the world, and there were a couple of Julio Jones. They don't want those guys. If they wanted those guys, you get them in camp.
Yeah,
and they want young guys. You heard Chad yesterday. He was right. They don't want the older guys anymore. They want youth.
Right.
The youths.
Look, Chad's 100% correct, and Maz, you're 100% right. When I was in Seattle, when I was out there with Pete Carroll, he kind of ushered this in, and people might not want to give him his credit. Pete Carroll wanted all young guys. Like when I was there, we were the old guys. Yep. Hell, I was in year 8. And I was an old guy. Sidney Rice was in year 6. He was considered an old guy.
I forgot about him.
Sidney Rice was an old guy. Like Chris Clemens coming off the edge. He was an old guy. Pete Carroll respected us. He brought us in to help out with those guys, but he did not want us to start. He did not want us to be the guys making the plays. He wanted the young guys making the plays, and that's what you see that. So I definitely understand that, and you're right. If you wanted a Jarvis Landry, you would have had a Jarvis Landry. They want younger, they want faster, they want spry, and that's why you already hit the nail on the head. You said you're seeing them trade for kickers during training camp or at the end of training camp. It's going to be a trade. They're going to make a trade to somebody, and I go back to what I said last week, and I'm not saying it's Rondale Moore, but that image is stuck in my head. You got to look to a dumpster fire. You look to a team like the Cardinals who are trying to get rid of everybody and dissolve everything because they're trying to organically take for Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. Hey, let's get Rondale Moore from him. What's it going to take? 5th round pick? We'll take that. He's explosive. He can get down the field. He can make reverses, things of that nature. You got to go poach somebody to get that guy that you want, Ryan and Matt.
Guys, we've got some breaking news from Adam Schefter regarding the Lions defense. We'll get to that next, but first a message from Maz.
That's right. Check out Woodward Sports Network on YouTube, guys. You already do that, but we want more from you. The best sports coverage by the best sports personalities in Metro Detroit. Stop settling for constant cool and drinking and get the content that counts. Our experts know the inside scoop on the teams and are not afraid to share their real opinion. Subscribe to Woodward Sports on YouTube today.
Come hang with the Woodward Sports crew all throughout football season on Saturdays and Sundays. And join our college football and Detroit Lions live watch parties.
Inside the 5, caught, end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions!
With money on the line, featuring different special guests and surprises. Start times will vary depending on the game. Only on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel.
Be Big Boy Strawberry Fest has officially arrived, and we're here to show you the very best flavors of the season. Satisfy your sweet tooth with our deep-fried vanilla Oreos, strawberry hot fudge cake, and a slice of our classic strawberry pie. But that's not all. Cool off on a refreshing summer splash salad, or savor the flavors of our chicken Caesar wrap and strawberry bacon chicken wrap. And for breakfast lovers, don't miss out on our strawberry hotcakes or our mouth-watering red velvet waffle. Strawberry Fest is something for everyone. Celebrate the sweet season with us at Big Boy.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Town's newest sports bar has 13 TrackMan simulators, certified instructors, and most importantly, they have a full bar and restaurant. And every Thursday, we hang out down there. It's the Woodward Sports Golf League. 5 to 7, we hang out. Those 13 simulators, any course in the world you want to play, you come down there and have fun. You want to play Torrey Pines, you want to play Augusta, you want to play Pebble, or you come down and have a good time. And also, summer's almost over, but the fun is just beginning. 5-iron golf downtown at the Cambria Hotel.
Hey gang, welcome back. Woodward Sports Network, woodwardsports.com. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button for us. Let's get to over 200 likes by the end of this segment. Hour number 2, we open up with breaking news from Adam Schefter, and it was something, guys, we were literally just talking about. The Lions are moving Emmanuel Moseley off of the PUP list that's physically unable to perform. He will now open the season on the active roster, eligible to play on opening day. Matt Broder in with us, our WSN Lions beat writer. Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway, JB Parker, the whole gang is here. Guys, this is huge news, and I think when the Lions moved off of Chase Lucas yesterday, we had a really nice preseason. He's put together a really nice camp. You felt like this was maybe something that was moving towards Moseley coming off of PUP and onto the active roster. Braylon Edwards, this is great news for this football team.
Yeah, this is great news. You're talking about a guy that when he was healthy, he's averaging around 9 to 11 pass deflections a year. He's averaged a pick every season, but he's always where the ball is. He makes plays. He's a guy that is disruptive as there is as a DB, and he's a great tackler. One thing the Lions did last year very well. Lions were a good tackling team. They're a very good tackling ball club, and he helps. And at Broder, we were talking about how long is it going to take a guy like that to get situated, to get in there. One deciding factor we always forget about, Cam Sutton is his college teammate. Cam's his college teammate. They play in that rhythm. You know, what do you think is going to be, what does Emmanuel Moseley add to that defense that looks like it's getting better and better in the secondary?
You could argue before Emmanuel Moseley got hurt, he was trending to become one of those top 15, maybe even top 10 cornerbacks in the entire league. He was a star. He was becoming a star on that San Francisco 49ers loaded defense. So I think pairing him across the field with Cam Sutton,
his boy,
it's an incredible tag team that the Lions can roll out there. And we talked a few minutes ago about Cam Sutton as being that lockdown corner, that cornerback that the Lions haven't had in years. Emmanuel Moseley has the potential to be better than Cam Sutton. So to have those two together, and like you said, Emmanuel Moseley is a great tackler, and that's what Aaron Glenn wants to do. Yeah. He wants to blitz, he wants to get to the quarterback, and he wants to leave his cornerbacks out on islands. And to do that, they need to be able to tackle.
Bray, you played this game a long time, and it's funny because if you watch Undisputed yesterday, Keyshawn Johnson.
How could you understand anything?
right.
Jeez
but
Louise.
Keyshawn Johnson and Michael Irvin were going back and forth with Richard Sherman on if it's more difficult to play wide receiver or defensive back in the league. However you feel about that, I guess it's a roundabout question. What I'm about to ask you is, how quickly can a guy like Emmanuel Moseley, who hasn't had any training camp, who's with a new team, by the way, this isn't, somebody he's been with for a couple of years now, he could just maybe pick up and where he left off. He's with a new team, he's with new teammates, he's in a new system. How quickly can a guy like this acclimate to the speed of the game and to the Detroit Lions defense, the way in which they play it.
If he trusts himself, the speed of the game would be fine. He knows his game. This will be year 4 for him that he's entering in, I believe, or year 5 that he's entering. So he'll be fine speed-wise if he trusts his knee, 100%. The big thing, he's a DB. He's going to be out there on the island. If they're playing man-to-man coverage, he knows how to play man-to-man coverage. He knows how to play zone. He knows how to play quarters. He knows how to play cover 2, let the man release outside, make sure he press. So it's easier for a DB to get acclimated to a system than a wide receiver. And then you got your boy Cam Sutton on the team. He's going to give him some old school adage, the verbiage that they use at Tennessee to make him even easier to get it. But as it relates to what position is harder, it's DB. Like, as much as I don't want to say that, it's the defensive back position, because when you got guys like Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson running at you full speed forward, you got to be running as fast as them and thinking as fast as them as you're running backwards and opening up. So you do get help sometimes if you have a great defensive rush like Emmanuel Mosley had in San Francisco, like he will have here in Detroit. You get help, but we're more athletic than them. We're more athletic than them, but yeah, to do what they do backwards as we do it forwards, it's tough.
Braylon, is it safe to assume that if they're not going to put him on the PUP list where he'd have to miss the first 4 games, they probably expect him to be 100% healthy by week 3 against Atlanta? Is that safe? Maybe week 4 by the Packers?
If they're putting him on the non-PUP list, they expect him to start by week 2.
Okay.
They expect him to start by week 2. When I tore my ACL, I came off ACL. Now, granted, I was the first round draft pick for the Browns at the time. Tore my ACL, came back, worked through summer. They bought some other receivers in. Joe Jurevicius came in, Tim Carter. So he brought some guys in. But once they activated me, that last preseason game, I was no longer on the PUP list. People knew I was starting. So I say, if he's not going to be on that list and you were weak at that position last year, they're looking for him to start by game 2.
What did they tell you, Braylon? I'm sorry, Ryan.
Hold on, Maz, hold on. Let me read this. Want to spend your weekends with us? Now you can. Woodward Sports Live Game Watch Party, the latest show to hit WSN's YouTube channel. It premieres September 2nd, 12 o'clock to watch Michigan and East Carolina. Then, of course, September 7th, watch the Lions and Chiefs kick off the NFL season. Join us game days. Woodward Sports Live Game Watch Party, only on WSN's YouTube channel. Sorry, Maz.
I'm sorry, buddy. What did they tell a player that's coming on, that's on the PUP list?
Right.
They come to you and they say, hey, congratulations, you're back on the team?
That's funny. It does seem like you're not a part of the team when you're on PUP. No, they watch you, they assess you, they see how you're doing, they see how you trust your injury, they see how you're acting in the injury, they see how how your wind is. Right. 'Cause a lot of it is just getting in shape. A lot of times guys are healthy enough, but they don't trust their injury or they're out of shape. So they just come up to you and they ask you after they've watched or assessed for enough, say, hey man, you look like you can go. You look like you're ready to take the training wheels off. Are you ready? And it's up to you to say yeah. And nobody's gonna say no. But
that's what I was gonna say to you. What if you weren't comfortable yet?
So that happened to me, and that did happen to me, and I won't put the situation out there, but I think it's one of those situations where
I know when it happened to you.
I know you know. But I'm saying it depends on where you are in your career. Because if you're in a space where you're very comfortable in your career, you still have some of the power in your play and like that, they come up to you and they say, hey man, you're looking good. And they usually do that around a big game coming up or a big week coming up or a big stretch. They say, hey, you're looking good. If you're comfortable, you can say like Kawhi Leonard, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. You can't tell me when my knee.
Like Ben Simmons, you mean?
You can't tell me when my knee should respond. You can't tell me when my Achilles should respond. You can't tell me insert injury here. But if you're in a place where you don't know what's going to happen next year. You don't know when you're going to get your next chance to start. You don't know when somebody wants to rely on you. And they come to you and say, hey, man, you're looking good. You know what you're going to say, man. Yeah, you're right. I am. I'm ready to go.
But Mosley's not in that situation.
He is not. He is in a really good situation. He's in a situation where he has leverage. He's in a situation where he can say, no, I'm good. Let Jerry relax. So the fact that he's off PUP, that means he's ready to go.
Good.
Yeah. Doesn't this feel like a win for Brad Holmes?
Oh, God,
too. I mean, when you take a shot on a guy that's injured, that isn't playing, when you swing on a guy like that in free agency, for him to not miss any games, at least be on the active roster, whether he plays week 1 or not, at least they expect him to be back for week 2. I do anticipate that he plays week 1.
Yeah,
I don't know if they make this move if he doesn't. But it just feels like another win for Brad Holmes.
It's a major win because you got guys, and rightfully so. So this isn't me coming at you, Maz. You got individuals, fans like Maz, who the only thing they would say negative about Brad Holmes is what? He's drafted and he's brought in injured players. And they didn't like the Jameson Williams pick to move up. You see what it's gotten out of right now? Nothing. You didn't like the Hendon Hooker pick to a certain extent until you realize, oh, shoot, we got a first-round quarterback in the 3rd round. And even with Emmanuel Mosley. We were terrible at DB last year. Why are we bringing in an injured guy? That's the thought process. To have this guy come off his injury and he's ready for game 1, that does a tremendous service to Brad Holmes, and it puts fans like Maz back in the chair. Like, all right, maybe he does know what he's doing.
Right.
So
Thank you,
Lions fans, 100%. So it's a good move for Brad Holmes that Emmanuel Mosley will be able to go week 1.
Maz, this is long-time Lions fan. This again, what do we talk about? Lions luck.
Yep, it's changed, bro.
It seems to change.
It's
and
amazing.
This is just another part of that, right?
Absolutely, man. It used to be you would have a guy, and we've talked about it all the time. Guy goes down like C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Oh, that's it for him. He's out for the year. Or Nate Sudfeld. Oh, damn, we don't have another backup. What are we going to do now? And so on and so forth. Now Emmanuel Mosley. We didn't see anything out of him this whole training camp. Boom. He's coming off the pup, and he's ready to play probably week 1.
No doubt about it.
Great stuff.
Absolutely. Guys, we'll take a break. When we come back, more Lions talk. We are having a day here. We'll go around the NFL.
I got a question, too.
What's your question, Bray? You got a question for me?
Before we go to break, this is just a tease. I want to ask Broder when we come back. That first 10-game stretch for the Detroit Lions, what does he expect the Detroit Lions to do? Because I think that's going to be very pivotal for what they do this year. Obviously, that's any team. But I think it could be a big one for the Lions.
I think that is something we're going to have some fun talking about. We'll do that next. But first, a message from Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. You can walk into any Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically enter for your chance to win not 1 but 2 vehicles of your choice, courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. That's right, 2 cars, 1 for you, 1 for your wife, your girlfriend, your best bud, whoever you want to give it to. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week. You can walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Awesome.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Gabby is a college student struggling to study for her big exam. Then she discovered Syntron, a healthy way for her to stay awake and focus. Jennifer frequently has chaotic days like this until she gets online, orders some Syntron, and finds her groove. April visited her local grocery store, purchased a case of Syntron, and entered to win the Syntron 100K Vegas giveaway. Pick up your case of Syntron today at any Meijer location or visit drinksyntron.com/Vegas and enter for the 100K Vegas giveaway.
Hey, calling all landscapers, how would you like to landscape like a legend? Register for your chance to, for 4-time Stanley Cup champ winner Darren McCarty to work your crew for a day. Are you kidding me? That's right, D-Mac on your zero-turn, weed whipping, and edging for your favorite clients. Sign up today at OutdoorEquipCo.com. You get D-Mac on your crew for a day. OutdoorEquipCo.com. That's OutdoorEquipCo.com. Woodward Sports Network.
Woodward.
I can just see his crew. I can just see them. They're doing all the work, and D-Mac's doing the stories.
No doubt about it. Having some fun here on a Tuesday. It is cut down day in the National Football League. 4 p.m. is the deadline. If you're watching live, we say hello to you. Hit that like button for us. Let's see if we can get to over 300 likes by the end of the show here. Matt Broder is in the house with Braylon and I. Matt Broder, of course, you can read him, woodwardsports.com. Our Lions beat writer, Tom Mazaway, is combing through the cut-down day list. We have yet to see a final 53 for the Detroit Lions. It is, in fact, due 46 minutes from now.
You mean the final 69?
Yeah, the final
that's
69,
the way DC
as he
calls
it.
That's what Dan Campbell
That's right.
calls it.
So we got 13 cuts to go.
Yeah, 13 to go.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's a hell of a number. Hey, side note, if everybody's looking at my action figures from back in the day right here, we have Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, the Rockers. You got the Big Boss Man, and you got John the Hammer Valentine. Right,
Greg the Hammer Valentine.
Yeah, Greg, excuse me, I apologize. Look, man, it's been a long weekend, okay? You know what everybody was doing up there in Gaylord, Michigan.
Oh, yeah.
At Treetops and Otsego. But before we went to break, I asked you look at the Lions schedule in that first 10 game span. It's open up against a juggernaut in KC. They follow up against a damn good team and the Seahawks, and somewhere in there is the Ravens and the Chargers. What do you think the Lions can do in that 10-game stretch? And here's a part B to that question. What do you think the Lions need to do so that they can get where they want to be, which is winning the NFC North and getting that first-round home game?
That's it. Two great questions. I think they need – there are two parts to that 10-game stretch that I think the Lions need to really take care of. At the beginning of the season, they've got the gauntlet that is the Chiefs, Seahawks. Then you could say it's a little pull back a little on the gas, but Falcons have some players. You got Falcons and then Seahawks.
Okay.
Then you get later into that 10-game stretch, you hit the Ravens, and then I believe it's the next week is Monday Night Football. The Raiders come to town, and then we got Chargers. We go out to LA for that. I think you need to take care of those stretches. Maybe win 2 out of 3 against the Ravens, Raiders, and Chargers.
Split Seattle and Kansas City?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So I have them going 7-3 in those first 10 games. I think they're going to go out to LA and beat the Chargers.
I think so too.
It's a very difficult game, but fortunately we get them after a bye week, and it's our only West Coast trip. To have that after a bye week, we get an extra couple of days.
Yeah.
They'll be ready. They'll be rested. The one thing you worry about heading out west from Detroit is a short week. Maybe you're playing on Monday Night Football before we actually get more time. So I think they're going to take care of business there. You got to win your division games too. We go to Lambeau. Was that game 4 or 5?
Game 4.
We play them in Green Bay early. So I think you got to take care of the Packers and the Bears, which you face in that 10-game stretch.
Yeah, hey, Maz, he just bought up the Packers. He just bought up the Packers, bought it up. Everybody assumes the Lions are going to win this division. I bring it up every week. Hey, look, it's fun to talk about because it exists. Jordan Love, that's the quarterback.
Yep.
That is, I believe, becoming the Lions' challenge in this division. I don't think it's the Chicago Bears. I don't think it is the Minnesota Vikings. I think it's going to be Green Bay, the team that you love outside of the Lions and the Giants and the G-Men and the Jets. What do you think that team is going to really be about this year? Because Jordan Love is getting more and more and more attention.
Hey, it's all on him, man. If he can just keep that offense rolling, he's got a great staff there, protected him. Mike LaFleur, the head coach. Excuse me, Matt LaFleur. Mike LaFleur is elsewhere. He's a coordinator. But Matt LaFleur's got that team cooking. They love playing for this guy.
Yeah.
They have terrific running backs. They got 2 young receivers. I'm not sure who their tight end is right now. Offensive line is so this year. So we'll see where they roll. The defense, one of the best defenses in the league, is still playing at Lambeau Field. So they're not a walkover by any chance. Remember, they hit on their last 2 quarterbacks pretty good.
They did.
All right, so they don't just draft quarterbacks. I think they know what they're doing.
So do our guys Spencer Raxter and Flannel Sam and Easy. Woodward Sports College Football Game Day just got better. For the love of college football pregame show debuts September 2nd and then every Saturday morning from 8:30 to 10 a.m. Spencer Raxter, Flannel Sam, Easy, and many more will preview all the big games that Saturday's schedule has to offer. Start your Saturdays with us for the love of college football pregame show only on WSN's YouTube channel. And we thank all of you watching on our YouTube channel right now. Hit that like button for us. Tell a friend about Woodward Sports Hit that subscribe button as well. Coming up on 50,000 subscribers. Braylon, you were just talking about that first, 10 games, even just the first 2 games. One of the things about this football team, I think, and look, we're all going to panic. It's easy to say we won't panic. But if the Lions go to Kansas City and get blown out, I'll tell you, I am going to make a commitment to the audience right now.
I'm not going to let you.
I will not freak out. I think they're going to win the game. I really do. In my heart of hearts, I believe that the Detroit Lions are going to go into Arrowhead and win that football game. But if they don't, if they get blown out, I'm going to make a commitment to you, and to you that I am not going to freak out.
All right, you better. I'm not going to allow you to freak out. I'm going to tell you, the reason why I say it is like this. The Kansas City Chiefs are the best team in the NFL right now. They won the Super Bowl last year. They have the best player in the league, and they have one of the best tight ends to ever play, and maybe the best tight end to ever play when it's all said and done. I might still have to give it to Gronk, but Travis Kelce is getting closer and closer and closer and closer. If they were to get beat up, if they were to get beat down, you would have to look at the culmination of everything. They have a new rookie class where a lot of those guys will be starting or implemented in role ones or implemented in 1-2 roles. You have a lot of guys just joined the team, whether it's Emmanuel Mosley, who might even be playing in this game, who might be playing in a significant role. You have Cam Sutton, who's getting used to, getting adjusted. David Montgomery. You have Jahmyr Gibbs. How are they going to do the 2 backfield? Is it going to be more Jahmyr in the passing game on 3rd downs? Is it going to be David Montgomery on 1st and running downs? How is all this going to play out? If it comes out and they're trying to figure it out and they get beat by a team that, as you talk about, same head coach, same quarterback, same system, same thing in play for years to play, everybody will have to take a step back and understand that it's the Kansas City Chiefs. It's not like they got blown out on opening week against the Seattle Seahawks, who are a damn good team, but they should not blow the Detroit Lions out. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. If it happens, it happens. The Lions will get back to the drawing board. Dan Campbell will figure a way out. Aaron Glenn will get on that defense. And Ben Johnson will come up with some offense, and he'll figure out what is the right system for his running backs, for his wide receivers. And also, it's 17 games now. That is the other thing. 17 games, more time to kind of relax and take it. If it happens, it happens. I don't think it will, but if it happens, Brian, you and I both can come up here and relax and talk about what needs to change. That's about it.
And Matt Broder, I'll tell you, the best football team that the Detroit Lions as a franchise have had in the Super Bowl era was 1991. That opening week, they lost 45-0 on the road at RFK to the Washington football team. And I'll tell you,
Redskins.
They were the Redskins back then,
Correct.
Yes. I will always call them football team, Matt.
That's fine. They're not a soccer team.
I won't call them the Commanders, but I do call them football team. But again, I think this team does have the ability, like that 91 team, to put things in the past, to kind of be like a closer. Have that a thing or two about baseball. Have that closer's mentality. I just think this team could put it in the past.
You're spot on, and I think what we may learn the most about in this first game is the coaching staff, and I'm specifically thinking Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, and Aaron Glenn. Yeah. Can they start off the season continuing the momentum that they had on? None of us are going to question Ben Johnson's brain, how smart he is, that he's a future star, such a bright offensive mind. But and we also can't question Brad Holmes. We've got all these new pieces that we're very comfortable with. We're cutting good players now. Can they start this Kansas City Chiefs game with that same rhythm, with that same flow? Or did the decisions to not play their starters in the preseason, how does that affect them on game one?
Point.
So I think we're going to see a lot. I think we're going to learn a lot from the coaches, win or loss. It's not a time to panic, but we're going to see if these strategies they've implemented are going to work.
Yeah. You lead me to my next topic here.
Yes.
And I even wrote it down. I even wrote it down when Braylon was talking.
You wrote it down.
What do you want to see Dan Campbell improve upon this year? We kind of alluded to it a couple of days ago, Braylon. You had mentioned it, and we never really got into it. Where would you like to see Dan Campbell improve as a head coach, in-game head coach? Where would you like to see that? We'll do that next. But first, a message from Tom Mazaway.
All right, guys. Are you tired of wearing the same old Detroit sports gear?
I am.
Come on. That's right. It's a new era in sports wearables New designs, amazing apparel, and the ultimate swag. Check out Woodward Sports' latest gear at woodwardsports.com. Make sure you click the shop tag on that. Hoodies, tees, and the hats will guarantee to turn some heads. Get the latest designs today at woodwardsports.com and click shop.
Winners, losers, pushes and draws, over-unders, prop bets, futures and spreads. Are you sick and tired of your picks being losers? Do you want to learn how to bet like a champion? Well, Woodward Sports searched the globe for the most dangerous man with a bet slip in his hand and gave him a show. Coming soon to Woodward Sports. Tune in every weekend as we introduce the greatest gambler to ever walk the earth.
Hi, I'm Booner, and I don't lose.
How would you like to win not one, but 2 vehicles of your choice? One for you and one for your wife, your girlfriend, or your best bud. Get to Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut and automatically enter for your chance to win. Courtesy of Les Stanford Buick GMC of Ferndale. Lady Jane's, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
How would you like to win a $100,000 Vegas getaway? Take your closest friends and live it up in the city that never sleeps. It's the Cintron Energy. Drink it and live it. Purchase a 24-pack today and enter to win. Register at drinkcintron.com/Vegas and buy your Cintron at your local Meijer. Cintron, the healthier energy drink with great taste for the people that desire to look good, feel great, and be the best version of themselves with Cintron. drinkcintron.com/Vegas. drinkcintron.com/Vegas.
Where do you want to see Dan Campbell improve this year as a third-year head coach? Ryan Ermanni, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway. We got JB and Parker. Our Woodward Sports Network Lions beat writer is in the house. Matt Broder, kind enough to stick around. We're going to keep him until 4 o'clock.
Yeah, we are.
You guys are making me feel like Adam Schefter.
Right.
You've been man-napped.
Right. The Lions 53-man roster due at 4 o'clock. Will we know what it is by the time we get off the air here? Not sure, but we do know news of the day so far was that Emmanuel Mosley has been moved off of the physically unable to perform list. He will be on the active roster as we start week 1 here. Tom Mazaway, do you have?
Great news out of Buffalo. I know it happened a little bit ago, but DeMar Hamlin has made the active team.
That's great news.
DeMar Hamlin is back with the Buffalo Bills. That's phenomenal news.
I saw the dumbest thing over the weekend as it relates to DeMar Hamlin. It was like he's a clone. You know everything. When people disappear now, whether they go to jail, they go to the hospital, it's their clone when they come back. And somebody said, "You mean to tell me that the NFL really put a clone out for a guy that was maybe not even going to make the team?" I was like, yeah, we gotta stop. We gotta stop saying everybody's a clone.
Right, no doubt. But guys, let's get back to that Dan Campbell conversation. Where do you want to see him improve? I'll start. Okay. I'll answer my own question. Clock management. He absolutely has to get better at clock management. And I said this last year too. If you've ever gambled seriously at all, and by seriously I mean if you've lost money consistently over time, you understand. I could see, and any gambler could see, 8 series in front of like what's. I mean, that's an exaggeration, but you can just see things happen.
Right.
It's like almost like you can predict the future of. Once you've been bit by X, Y, and Z, you then expect X, Y, and Z to kind of happen as a football coach. And when you're talking about game management, seconds matter, timeouts matter, clocking the football matters, staying inbounds. All of these things that lead to extra points being scored when you don't want them to, when they could have been prevented if you would have just managed that clock properly. These are the areas I would like to see Dan Campbell improve.
I can give you 2 games from last year off the top of my head. Obviously, the Vikings,
the Buffalo
first
Bills.
Game, and the Buffalo Bills on Thanksgiving Day. Never give them back the ball in the first half when they drive down and they score there. And at the end of the game, Lions botching all that time at the end of that game, and they can't get the winning field goal or touchdown. Those are 2 where you stole the thought right out of my head.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I mean, boy, if you see down right here, what I put, what is that word right there? What does it say? Situational
football.
Situational football. It encompasses that.
Go blue.
Oh, that's time management. that was time management. But yeah, situational football, and that talks about the last 2 minutes before the half. It talks about the first 2 minutes outside. Like once you get out of the half, that's when that's that Tom Brady period. That's the Bill Belichick and Tom Brady period. The last 2.5.
The middle 8.
Middle 8. It's really the middle 8. It's literally 4 and 4. It's the middle 8. But those want to see him get better at that. Want to see him know when to call those timeouts. Like Maz said, don't want to give the ball back to the Buffalo Bills. You hold that ball the complete end of the first half. Don't give them a second opportunity. And then you saw if they did at the end of the game. Situational football for Dan Campbell. When to go for it on 4th down. There's a time and a place, and it's perfectly fine. Situational football, and there's just a pet peeve one. Every time he gets up to the podium, and I love Dan Campbell. Like he's grown on me. He's a great dude. He loves his players. Stop saying that's on me. Stop saying that's on me. Like he goes to the podium. He takes the onus for the players. Look, these players are grown men. These players are getting paid a salary to do a job. It's up to them to do that job. Now, if it's a specific situation where you actually put guys in the wrong space, where it really was on you, you messed up, then it's okay. Come to the podium and tell us that. But not every time you come to the podium, hey, you know what, that's on me. Everything isn't on you, Dan Campbell. Sometimes it's on the players, and let them take the onus.
Guys, in Woodward Sports Lions pregame show, the live pregame show returns for another season of Lions football. Join Jeff Iafrate with weekly special guest hosts on the Woodward Sports YouTube channel. It premieres September 7th at 6 o'clock. Then throughout the year, Sunday mornings from 9:30 to 11:30. Lions pregame show all season long right here on Woodward Sports YouTube channel. Matt Broder, I'll give you a chance to answer that question. Where would you like to see Dan Campbell improve his in-game coaching in year 3?
You guys took what was going to be my answer.
Right.
I mean, it's 100% clock management, but just for the sake of giving a different answer, or at least semi-different answer, we talked about it a couple minutes ago, but I want to see him get his players ready to start this season. I'm not saying they have to start 6-0, but I'm saying they have to look like they're in mid-season form from the start. Each year that he's been the head coach, it's just been a lackluster start. And it affected us last season. I mean, it kept us out of the playoffs. So I want to see him get his players ready. We've got the players now. Now let's get them ready for game 1.
It's funny you say that. You know, I do not have the best record in the NFL on opening game. I do not. I pretty much lost all of them except for with the Seattle Seahawks and the 49ers. But I just noticed the season started differently when we won. You're absolutely correct. When I was with the Jets, we lost opening night. We lost to, I think it was Monday Night Football. We lost to the Baltimore Ravens, and it was built as Rex Ryan playing against his old team, and we got beat. We lost, and then the energy wasn't the same in the locker room, and then we really had to dig ourselves out of a hole next week against the Patriots and Tom Brady. You're right. When you start off different, man, when we start off, we won San Francisco. Energy was different. You got Patrick Willis sticking his chest out. We think, we're nowhere, and eventually we ended up in the NFC Championship. But to start is the key, man.
There's no doubt, right? I mean, they've got to get off to a good start. I go back to that Hard Knocks last year when Dan Campbell was talking to the team about hitting. He's like, you have to be ready week 1.
Yeah.
The season doesn't start in week 8 when you've done some hitting. And Braylon, you're a big proponent of that. Football players have to hit. Mike Tomlin, we were talking about the Lions not playing their players this preseason. Yeah. Mike Tomlin had the greatest quote I've ever heard last week when he talked about why he played his starters in the preseason. And he said you cannot go in, he believes, anyway, that you cannot go into a boxing fight without sparring first.
It's real.
And that's what he wanted his team to do. He wanted his team to spar in the preseason before they went into the fight on September 11th.
You got to, man. Like when you hit
or
like
10th, whenever the rest of the season gets going for the NFL.
100% correct. But you got to hit, man. When you hit, you can take the hit. You can withstand the hits. You hit, you hit back. You play longer. Injuries don't necessarily bother you. And I'm not saying it's the ultimate end-all be-all to injuries, but it's kind of funny, right? It's like when I first moved back from Miami, and I first moved back from Miami. I moved back here when it got wintertime. Like, this is not Braylon that went to Michigan. This wasn't Braylon that lived in New York. This wasn't Braylon. I was cold as hell when I first got back. But after being here for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, my body's back used to being cold. It's the same thing with hitting. You gotta hit. Body gets used to hitting, and when it comes game day, you're already ready to go out there and knock somebody out, as opposed to it takes you 3 hits in the game to kind of get back to the tempo and the speed and, okay, cool, I can do this again. You got to hit all the time, man, or you got to be hit consistently.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Maz, what do you think of that? You got any thoughts today?
Not really.
I know you're really working that waiver wire.
Nothing big yet. Nothing's come down for any team that's really a standout.
I sort of
teams are locked in.
There were going to be moves like by noon today, so then we'd hear about a bunch of trades or something as we got closer.
There've been more trades since we've talked.
Yeah.
I mean, the Raiders and Chiefs made a trade.
Really?
Yeah, they traded a former first-round pick for a former second-round pick. Don't ask me the names right now, but they're inconsequential to us.
Wild.
Ravens releasing veteran running back Melvin Gordon.
Yep, we're done.
It's interesting.
He knew he was going to get it.
A guy like Melvin Gordon, though, like one of those, we were just talking about guys
can't hold the ball.
In baseball, though.
Exactly.
We're talking about guys in baseball. Like when it falls off, it just falls off. Like Josh Donaldson was he was the word
MVP.
Great. He was a great player. Just cut by the Yankees today. Yeah. Melvin Gordon was a great running back. I mean, you talk about fantasy football every year. There's a top 5 running back every year, Melvin Gordon. And then when it falls off, man, it goes hard into the toilet.
Yeah. Go ahead. He also can't hold on to the ball, and like when you're gonna make comments,
that's a big part of the running back
because he's still in shape.
Position.
Like Melvin Gordon's still in plenty of shape, but hey, man, when you can't hold on to the ball and you're making comments about what owners should do with their money, like if you're gonna make those kind of comments, you better be Ezekiel. I mean, you better not him either. You better be Jonathan Taylor. You saw what happened to him. So.
No doubt.
He hasn't been traded yet, and the word on the street was he was going to get dealt before 4 o'clock today.
I told you what that was about. Hell no. They're not doing that because they're go ahead.
I was just saying, just coming up against a break here. I want to get to it. More Lions talk, more NFL talk. We'll get to it next. But first, a message from Planet Fitness.
Yes, because summertime is a great time to join Planet Fitness and beat low E. Planet Fitness is your home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and I do mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym with tons of equipment, a full body workout in just 30 minutes in a 30-minute circuit, and all memberships include fitness training. No matter where you are, there is a Planet Fitness nearby with more than 50 convenient locations in the Metro Detroit area and thousands more throughout the world. For more information or to join today, visit your local Planet Fitness, or as always, check them out online at planetfitness.com.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Are you a diehard college football fan? Well, it's your lucky day. Join special WSN guests like Spencer Raxter, Flannel Sam, and more every Saturday. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Saturdays and tune in live from 8:30 to 10 a.m.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
Hey guys, what could be better than watching celebrities like Braylon and D-Mac play golf? You know, playing golf yourself, but being treated like one of those guys. Stop at any Randy Wise dealership for your chance to play golf like a celebrity. VIP transportation, free golf to one of Michigan's best tracks, and a tasty steak afterwards, courtesy of Fairway Packing Company. Make the wise decision. Get to a Randy Wise today for your chance to win, and keep it right here on Woodward Sports for more of the details.
Guys, news of the day so far, Lions related, is that Emmanuel Mosley is coming off of PUP. He'll be on the active roster week 1. Will he play? Will he start? Yet to be determined, but he's not going to miss the first 4 games of the season. Also, that the Lions were in on, are currently still in on talks regarding trades for a kicker. They don't have a kicker, really. I mean, I think Riley Patterson, it really opened up some eyes, guys, when he was short on a 53-yard field goal. That automatically, in today's NFL, a 53-yard field goal has to be automatic.
That's like an extra point.
And you got to clear it by 10 yards in today's NFL. And I think that was really eye-opening that he was short.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's kind of like baseball. You see a lot of strikeouts, but as long as you get those home runs in there, I think you're going to miss some of those kicks. They're going to be 37 yards, 43 yards. You're going to miss some extra points. But you damn sure better not miss those 50-yarders, the 51s, the 52, the 53, because they usually end up being very, very, very valuable to the outcome of that game.
No doubt about it.
And we were talking about Dan Campbell and his clock management, his situational football. He likes to take some chances that leaves his kicker with a 53, a 55, a 51-yarder. So we need that kicker to be automatic from 50.
And Dan Campbell's a guy, too, that's going to go for it on 4th down more times than he's not. And it doesn't feel like Dan Campbell's going to kick a lot of 35-yard field goals or a lot of 45-yard field goals, even if they're in that kind of offensive territory. They're going to go for it. So probably the only time he wouldn't go for it is in order to kick a 50, 53, 55-yarder. So you got to make that.
I push back on that. I hope Dan Campbell's not the guy that's always crossing the 40 and wants to go for it, because we've seen how that directly affected one coach in his ball club, and that's the Los Angeles Chargers. Brandon Staley has made a lot of decisions to go for it in bad times, bad spots, and it's cost him playoff spots, and it's cost him games at the end of the season. So I just hope that Dan Campbell puts it in a ratio where it's a good amount going for it. It's the smart decisions to go for it, and he's just not going for it all the time like a madman.
Guys, want the latest inside information on the Lions? The Lions have you covered. Shows twice a week. Our Lions insiders do.
There he is.
Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and the legend Terry Foster bring you the latest breakdowns Tuesday mornings from 7 to 8, Sunday mornings from 8 to 9. Lions Insider Show, your first stop for game day. Check them out. Woodward Sports YouTube channel. Tom Mazaway, let's go around the NFL, shall we?
I will. I want to ask you guys a question about Ron Rivera.
Okay.
Riverboat Ron. I don't know, man. I don't think he's not for me. This guy, I don't think he knows what the hell he's doing. He went on, and this is his quote. If I would have seen more out of Sam Howell during the early part of practice last year and all, I would have used them sooner. You're the head coach. You haven't watched Sam Howell? I mean, you could have used Sam Howell on those. Remember the last?
Yeah.
Bray, you and I talk about the Giants game.
That was the worst game
on the
I've
Sunday
ever seen.
night game.
It was the worst thing I've ever seen.
If Sam Howell could have been playing in these games,
he would have won.
Washington would have been in the freaking playoffs.
Well, the quote was, I kept saying, again to his wife, I kept saying, bleep it. If I would have known this, I would have played him sooner. After every game, everything told me this kid, give him the opportunity and see what he does with it. Every game, he wanted to see what he could do with it. And he just, if he would have known, what do you mean if you would have known this?
You're the boss.
So here's twofold. One last year. Remember last year, Sam Howell got some traction before the season started? And Sam Howell was getting traction. He was like, hey, this guy might be able to something. You might want to go with Sam Howell this year and see what happens. Didn't want to go with him, and he didn't play him, and obviously the rest is history with Tyler Heineke. The second thing is, look, man, Ron Rivera isn't getting any younger. Ron Rivera also played in what era? He played in the 80s. He played on the Monsters of the Midway, the 85 Bears. Like, how much could this be like as he's starting to get older? Hey, I'm just saying, you mix a little bit of those hits to the head, man. It's a real deal.
And also, I don't think you can underscore. You know who wasn't there last year? Eric Bieniemy. This is exactly why Eric Bieniemy got away from Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, because Eric Bieniemy, even in the show Quarterback, if you watch the show Quarterback, and I watched 7 episodes of Quarterback, there's a lot of Patrick Mahomes in there. You know who Patrick Mahomes is never talking to?
Eric Bieniemy.
Eric Bieniemy. You know who he is talking to?
Andy Reid.
And Matt Nagy, the quarterback's coach.
That's right.
He is glued to Matt Nagy. So
now is Nagy the OC now?
I don't know how that works.
I think he is.
I don't know how that works.
Nagy's in the Dolphins, right? Oh no, that's Gase. Nagy's Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago. So I mean, 7 episodes, all that Patrick Mahomes on the field, and there was never any Eric Bieniemy. So now that you have your own kind of offense, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you are the offensive head coach. It is you. To see Sam Howell in year 2 play the way he did in the preseason, grasp the offense the way he did in the preseason, to where the coach is making himself look like an idiot by saying he didn't know this, and maybe this wasn't the same Sam Howell last year because this wasn't the same offense last year.
Bro, what do you now from a team like the Washington Commanders? You see, they have some talent on the offensive side. They have some weapons. With Eric Bieniemy coming in, we don't know what he was with the Chiefs, what he was and what he wasn't. What could you expect from a team like that where, I mean, they're in a division where, you know, who's to say the Cowboys are going to be there? Who's to say the Giants are going to be repeat? And we know who's number 1, the Eagles.
I think he's gonna not replicate the Chiefs' offense, but create a version of it with the Commanders and with the weapons that they have that can air it out a little bit more. They've got Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson.
Yep.
They've got a great running back
Aaron
room.
Gibson?
Yeah, Aaron Gibson. Yeah, that's right. I think him going there, first off, he's not going there if he didn't do his research on Sam Howell and know that he's a stud. I thought that when he went there, they may be in the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes to try to really reshape that offense.
Chocolate City.
Obviously, that didn't happen. So I just think they're going to put a lot more faith in the talent of their quarterback, the talent of Sam Howell, versus a Taylor Heineke, who was more of the emotional leader of that team. I think it's going to be more football improvement versus leadership. I don't know what Sam Howell brings to the table there.
No doubt.
Hey, I didn't get a chance to talk to Braylon about the Trey Lance situation. How he was dealt on Friday, and several teams did ring the phone to San Francisco to try to get him. He goes to Dallas. Did you know that Jerry Jones, of course, brought him in? He did not ask his head coach, and he did not ask his quarterback, Dak Prescott.
I mean, I can't say that I necessarily expected it, no. I understand that that's business. I understand that they're probably on a timeline. They need to get something done. And as I said, he felt like that strengthened his team. To be honest with you, I'm not surprised by anything anymore. You've been in this league 8 years, been on this team. It's hard to say that I was surprised, to be honest with you.
I'm not surprised by anything anymore. We just talked last week. I talked about the Dallas Cowboys. I said that they were going to lose in this division. I said they were going to finish last. Jerry Jones is an ultimate distraction. He is an ultimate distraction. The problem is he's the owner. He's the head man in charge. He's also the GM. He's also the spokesperson. He's also the sponsor. He does it all. And he can do whatever he wants. For you to be able to just go out, and don't get me wrong, it actually was a good pick. I mean, to get a 4th pick for Trey Lance after everybody knows that he's a sinking tornado,
huge.
It's a big pick. But the fact that you didn't negotiate your head coach, who's also your offensive coordinator, the fact that you didn't go to Dak Prescott, who you talk all the time about how much Dakota Rain Prescott means to the Dallas nation, the Dallas Cowboys, the Dallas faithful, you didn't talk to any of them and you just made that move. See, this is why the Dallas Cowboys will never win the Super Bowl again until rest in peace. Because he's too much of a distraction. He does what he wants to do, and he rewards players, and he doesn't discipline players. I love the Cowboys as a brand, but Jerry Jones, it's moves like this.
Hey.
It's moves like this.
Stephen Jones is waiting in the wings, by the way. The general manager, Stephen Jones. Anyway, Will Greer had a phenomenal preseason.
He's a damn good quarterback.
They liked him.
He's out there.
They told him on Friday, we're cutting you because we got Trey Lance, but we're going to let you play on Saturday night. And he lit it up.
You know whose best friend that is, too? That's Dak's best friend on the team.
Really?
Like, now that Zeke is gone, that's his boy. That's who they hang. That's who he watches film with. Their family was a friend. Like, that's his boy. So that anger, he's pissed that his boy got let go. Hold up. What happened to the guy that won 3 out of 4 games and keep them in the playoff hunt last year? Cooper Rush.
Bye-bye.
What the hell is Jerry doing? I mean, I get the 4th round pick.
I think Cooper Rush is still there.
No, he is, but he's not.
He's hurt, I think.
Yeah, just the conversation.
It makes me question the fact that I have the Lions and Cowboys in the NFC Championship. It does make me question.
Nah.
Like, when I hear that.
It's not going to be the Cowboys.
I do question because again, who's it going to be? I just cannot believe that the Eagles are going to repeat. Until I see, it's one of those historical things.
Yeah.
History tells me they will not. I have to see it to believe it. So again, I go Cowboys, I guess. I mean, I don't know how else to do it.
Which you might want to go with the Giants. You might want to go with the Giants.
Maybe.
You might want to go with the Giants because I'm out on the Dallas Cowboys completely. Dak Prescott was already an average quarterback when he got drafted. He was an above average quarterback when he got drafted. He had above average speed, above average athletic ability. Since he's been in the NFL, we've talked about it, he's been injured 4 times. He's been there 4 times, and that above average athletic ability now has gone down to average athletic ability as it relates to the other individuals in the NFL, as it relates to his throwing mechanics. Those haven't gotten better either. And so people are talking about, well, this is the only time he's ever thrown 12 interceptions. Dak Prescott has 35 turnovers in 31 games. His last 31 games, he has 35 turnovers.
Guys, I got to get a break in. I got to get one more break in. Back to wrap it up, and we'll talk about a very exciting time for us here at the network. Debuting a new show soon involving this guy. We'll tell you what that is coming up next. But first, a message from Mark White.
In buying or selling real estate, flexibility and control over the sales process is key. Sellers, how would you like the freedom of canceling your listing agreement at any time for any reason with no penalty at all? That is exactly what Mark White and Associates offers. It's called the Minute-by-Minute Listing Agreement by Mark White and Associates. Try Mark White's risk-free minute-to-minute listing agreement today. Looking to buy or sell real estate? Visit markwhitesells.com or call 248-290-8242. That number again, 248-290-8242. markwhitesells.com, where flexibility meets success.
Hey, this is Mr. Kearney, Chief Academic Officer, Academy Warren. I want to welcome you to the brand new field house. The state-of-the-art facility has a regulation basketball court, volleyball court, soccer field. It can be used for 7-on-7 football. Our K-8 academic features AM, PM, latchkey, small classroom sizes, learning street, futuristic media center, free breakfast and lunch, Holton Mifflin curriculum, academic games, K-8 athletics, and more. Enroll today at academywarren.net.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Experience the true meaning of exceptional cannabis products with Dispo Dispensary. Your local plug is Dispo. 12 locations around the state of Michigan. 21 and up, but it's rec only. Yo, they do it right. The best flavors, the best brands. I'm talking about Hyman. I'm talking about Runs. I'm talking about whatever you need. Lumen, they have it. They got it. They will have it for you. And they cool people, man. Why don't you come hang out with us, man? We were there last Friday at the one in Romeo. We'll be at the one in Hazel Park soon. Always a great time. DJ is on Friday. Why don't you come in and turn up at Dispo, your local plug.
All right, Tom Mazaway, what do you got for us?
12 cuts to go. Benny Snell, running back.
Yeah.
Released.
So, I mean, do you think they will try to improve that running back position too? I mean, Craig Reynolds had a nice game 3.
Right.
Do you think they love Craig Reynolds as their third running back? Is he a great special teams guy? Bray?
Craig Reynolds outlasted DeAndre Swift. He's outlasted Justin Jackson. He's outlasted Benny Snell. He's outlasted insert running back here. There's a reason why they like Craig Reynolds, and he did have a segment on Hard Knocks. So I think they like him. I think he's a hard nose runner and has some speed to him too. I think he's a good switch up when you don't have Montgomery or Gibbs in there. They like him, they trust him. That's a major thing. Once you get with teams that have good coaching, have good system and consistency, you know what they do? They play players that they trust. They don't care how good you are. They play players that they trust. And I think Craig Reynolds, who Maz has been on Craig Reynolds for the last 2 years. Maz is right. They trust Craig Reynolds, and that's why he's still here.
And he's by far the best blocking running back in that room, even with David Montgomery on the roster.
And isn't he one of the favorites there as far as teammates go?
Yeah, they love him. It's whether they love him as the third running back or the fourth. We'll see.
By the way, remember I told you the Broncos were dumping their 4th-round draft pick, tight end Albert O.
Yep.
Well, the Philadelphia Eagles has traded for him. Eagles are always Eagles pick up everyone's scraps, and I mean like high drafted scraps. That team, that Howie Roseman, he's something. He's something.
I just mentioned his name 2 seconds ago. I think what it is with them is they're like, hey, look, the goal is to win a Super Bowl. The goal is to win a Super Bowl. Why not expense everything to win that Super Bowl? We got close last year. We won it 6 years ago. Why not do everything in our power? Let's keep our team structured a way in which we can just keep going after guys. If we got to pay a little extra, so what? Those owners have billions. They got the money to pay the luxury tax. So he's like, look, we're going to keep going until we keep getting Super Bowls, man. And they increase your brand by $350 million every time.
No doubt. Guys, Woodward Sports expanding its daily lineup beginning September 5th.
There he is.
And Broder pair up for Woodward Nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Two of Detroit's up-and-coming sports personalities for the hottest takes, the best entertainment. Join them on Monday through Friday, I should say, not on Labor Day, but Monday through Friday from 8 to 10 p.m. Booter and Broder, catch them on our Woodward Sports YouTube channel. By the way, if you are watching on YouTube right now, hit that like button for us. Let's see if we can get to over 300 likes by the end of this live show, and then we'll keep it running from there. Keep hitting that like button, keep hitting that subscribe button. But Matt Broder in the house with us, spent most of the day with us, Broder. We are so happy for you and Booner. You guys, we're really looking forward to expanding the daily lineup to Woodward Nights. How do you feel about it?
We can't wait. I mean, Booner and I are both so excited to not only have a show, but to follow you guys, follow the heavyweights during the week and be that daily show. We're going to bring a lot of energy to the studio from 8 to 10 p.m. So I hope you guys all come watch, and we're going to have a good time.
That's what I was going to ask you. You know, 8 to 10, man, it's no easy time slide. It gets a little late. You got to bring that energy. You got to keep your people going. How can we, what can we expect wise from you at that time of night, at 8 to 10? It sounds exciting.
We're gonna bring some new flair to the show. We're gonna have some funny segments, some new segments. We got some new guys in the booth. I think you guys have seen them training this past week. It's gonna be a little bit of a surprise, but the base of it is still the same. We're focusing on Detroit sports. We're a sports talk show. We're just gonna bring our own little spin to it.
Hey, and the games are going on at night, so you can talk about the games that are going on and look ahead.
Maz, how many years did you do the night show with Mitch Albom and all those guys, Dan Nickerson? And
my night show started at 6:30 at night, and we went to midnight.
Wow.
On WJR, and we did it most nights, except if there was a Red Wing game, then it would be pre-game, post-game. After that,
5.5-hour show.
5.5-hour show.
This had to be like 91.
But we had the time. That was the time of my life. I had the best time doing it, and you will too.
Do you have any advice for Booner and myself?
Absolutely. Sleep. But come ready. Sleep early. Come ready, and just bring that energy. You got so much energy, man. We could power Birmingham through your energy. And Booner, this freaking kid has been showing up for 2 years trying to get on the air. He just keeps showing up, and now he's got 2-3 shows. I love Booner.
Hey,
that's
man,
my boy.
Squeaky wheel gets the oil.
That's it.
Baby.
Hey, guys, the Lions, we don't have their final 53.
I'm trying.
Check with the heavyweights tonight, 5 o'clock. They'll have the first crack at it.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back, obviously, tomorrow with our reaction to the final 53. I have to say this is a great tweet by Isaac Christopher Rochelle. Who is a player for the Raiders.
Gotcha.
Was a player for the Raiders. His tweet, I've been released by the Raiders. That is, I mean,
There's nothing behind
that's it.
I guess he wanted to tell his family.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, usually like you get like
It's ESPN to release it or something,
Schefter
or will
or
release it.
Pelissero or some local beat writer that announces it. But Isaac Christopher Rochelle has taken to X and posted, "I've been released by the Raiders."
Hey, look,
he has broken his own news.
Hey, can I leave you with a Coach Prime tweet?
Yes.
Right off there.
I did.
I'm at peace because I know God's greatest work happens in the most impossible situations.
Amen to
Did
that.
you see what their uniforms are going to be for opening night? They're going with the all white with the gold trim.
Oh, I love that.
And they're all wearing glasses.
Really?
They're all coming out in sunglasses.
Oh my gosh.
Deion's gonna win.
They got to come out with the Jerry
All
curl.
Deion does is win.
Do they wear buffs in Colorado? The Colorado buffs?
Hey, no, that's Detroit only.
That's
baby.
us.
Hey, we need the Jerry curl now.
Oh, he got to take it back to the Yankees and the
baby.
Falcons. When I first met
God.
Deon, he had a Jerry curl.
Very good.
Prime time. Prime
Brother,
time.
thanks, brother. Good to see you. Bray, get us out of here. Love you, bud.
The gang's all here. Look, man, in 2 days there will be 7 days until the Detroit Lions get this season cracking. But you know who does get the season cracking this weekend? Oh yeah, that is the Michigan Wolverines. So we'll have some Michigan talk tomorrow. Talk about what they need to do and what's going on with this opening season.
No cap too.
Cap or no cap. Sharon Moore is out. First game, and that is no cap. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. Talk some more. Appreciate you tuning in. I saw the numbers were up there today. It's probably because you want to see Broder. Probably because you want to see Broder. But for my man JB, another hell of a show by you, Parker. You know what time it is, my guy, Uncle Maz, my brother from another mother, Ryan Ermanni.
You know what time it is.
Love you. We will see you guys tomorrow. Woodward Sports Network.